We're live. So, live from Wareham Center. It's Wednesday night. It's 6:30. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm calling this meeting to order. Our chairman won't be here this evening, so as clerk, I'll be sitting in as vice chair or as chair for the evening. And also continuing as the clerk, I'll take my own notes as necessary to allow the other members to review things in advance. Opening the meeting to my right, viewers left, Troy. Troy, who are you? Oh.
Larson?
Troy Larson?
Yeah.
The famous
Today,
Troy
anyway.
Larson. Richard, do you have a last name too? Simple?
Well, it could be Lawson, because you said we look alike.
And Chris Conti. And myself, Jim Akabachi. Sonia Raposo, Principal Department Assistant. Our Building Commissioner, Paul Turner. And a couple characters running cameras. John and Noah. You guys don't need to take a bow. That's our roll call. The meeting's called to order. That's our roll call. We had some minutes from 12/11/24. I believe Mr. Conti has reviewed them. I gave them a cursory review. Anybody have any comments on the minutes? Nope.
I move we approve the minutes.
So I have a motion from Mr. Conti to approve the minutes as presented. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded,
The twins?
Twinny.
second
They
and
talk
third
together.
by Conti and Larson. Larson, and I'm sorry, Semple and Larson. Sorry, got my toy twisted. So it's been moved, it's been seconded, all in favor? Troy?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Richard?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
They're approved. I'll sign them later. So that's the minutes for the meeting. Next thing on the agenda is Frederick C. Mannix, 5521. Would you like to come forward? Ladies and gentlemen,
Mr. Chairman Pro Tem, that's your official title tonight.
correct, okay.
Members
You
of
can
the
take, you can
board,
get rid of the pro part, I'm just Tim.
amateur Tem? Anyway, Peter Teitelbaum, representing the permit holder, I guess we're not going to call him an applicant right now, Fred Mannix, in relation to his properties on Sandwich Road.
Okay, so on this matter, we've discussed just before the meeting, I was forwarded via email a REBA article, which I read pretty quickly, and a couple other people have read more thoroughly, and it appears that it's actually technically not necessary for you to be here tonight. You're here to ask for an extension. The governor has enacted an act that says any extensions between a couple of given periods, I think it's January 1, 23 and January 1, 25, whose expiration dates or fall between those dates automatically become extended for 2 years. So you're not only entitled to it, you're granted by a matter of statute. I guess it's an act. I don't know, is that?
I do have,
It's a law, so it's a statute, but yeah, so,
I do have a question about this.
go ahead.
So in this approval, right, it says, the approval is broadly defined as any permit, certificate, order, excluding enforcement orders, license, certificate, determination, exemptions, variance, waiver, and building permit concerning the use of property or real property for municipal. So it says here excluded variances. I know there were 2 variances that we issued on that property, one for the height and one for the maintenance building side.
And the permit was granted under a special permit. So one can't travel without the other. I would assume they'd get a free ride even though,
Chair, Mr. Chair,
go ahead,
the building inspector would like to.
go ahead.
The way that's written says any permit, certificate, order, and then in italics it says excluding enforcement orders. And then license.
Enforcement of variance, okay, so,
So that's the only thing that is excluded, is the enforcement orders, not the whole list afterwards.
I'm not looking at it, so I'm trusting I'm
I've
trusting
read it
you guys' eyes.
like 10 times over. That's how I came up with
Good.
it. I don't know.
Get
It
you-
seemed very confusing there. I thought it was excluding
Well, anything
everything
that's
after
written
it
by
said
the state is
excluding.
intended to
I
be
think it's only
confusing.
excluding that one item, the enforcement order.
So as a matter of housekeeping, it would appear that even if we said, no, you can't have your extension, there'd be superior actions that would overrule our decision. So I think it's prudent, as long as the board agrees with me, for us to take a roll call vote, grant you your extension, and, give you something in writing, like, and then we've covered all our bases, crossed the Ts and dotted the Is. Is that acceptable to you?
That's fine to you, but through you, I do have a question to Building Commissioner Turner. What's the statutory site for this law that was passed? Does it fall under 40A, or where did they stuff it?
Tell you
into
what,
the-
I'll give you
Where
my
did they stuff
co-
it into the zoning statute, I guess is what I'm asking.
Section 280, Chapter 238 of the Acts of 2024 provide.
Okay, so I'll have to go research then and figure out where it went into the MGL.
When you leave tonight, Peter, if you want, you can take this, because
Great,
I'm
thanks.
satisfied with what I've read, that I've got the gist of it, and I'm not practicing law, I'm just practicing. Okay,
Me too.
yeah. So that said, do I have a motion to extend Frederick C. Mannix, number 5521?
So moved.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second?
It's been moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Troy? Myself, aye. Richard,
Aye.
Chris?
Abstain.
You're going to abstain? Okay, you only need a simple majority, so you're good. Do you want to write something up and have us sign it, or you want us to write something up and you can come pick it?
I can submit something to you guys.
Submit, yeah, because we want
Write it, and
we-
or you can,
I was trying to create less work for you, but if you like more work, it's okay.
well, Attorney Titlebaum.
I can take care of it, because again, I want to research the statutory site, because,
Okay.
when they passed something
Do-
2 years ago, it
Do
has to
your
fall under
thing,
the
she can
general
do
law
her
somewhere.
thing, and if we need to marry them, we will. If not, we'll pick the best one.
Perfect.
Have a good night.
Thank you, gentlemen, appreciate it.
Okay. True Storage, Cranberry Highway, 4-23, 2400 Cranberry Highway, final SPR completion approval. Anybody here for True Storage? I'm going to table that for the meantime, and just in case somebody's planning on showing up. I believe we were waiting on Phil Cadero's report.
Jim, I emailed you the plan that we were waiting for. I'm
Yep.
not sure if the board had a chance to review that or not. I did email the applicant. He knows he's on the agenda for tonight. I think we were ready to move forward on this approval, if the board agreed that he was up to, or met all the conditions.
Is
surprised not
Phil
to see
is
him
Phil in
here
the room
tonight.
or on Zoom?
Phil is online. I can let him in.
He's online?
Yeah, I can let him in to speak.
I thought they both,
I'm pretty sure I read it, but sometimes,
thought there was a couple issues or something that weren't done.
that's what I want to ask, if Phil's available online, if you've got him. There he is. Phil, how are we on True Storage? Are we done? Are we good? Do we still have a couple lingering items? And you got to unmute your mic.
Sorry. Used to being in the room. We have a few lingering items. There are a couple of items that were not yet completed. The biggest one is no landscaping was installed. So
Okay,
we need
I
to come
remember
to
it
a
now.
resolution as to when that's going to come to pass. Number two is they didn't submit an as-built. It sounds like maybe Sonia might have recently received one. Without the as-built, we don't have compliance with the stormwater management that was approved under the site plan review, and we're trying to capture that. And then there's a handful of ticky-tacky items, some concrete aprons, things like that, that are incidental really to the application. They won't materially change it, but they're deviations from the plans that were approved.
Now that you refreshed my memory, or jump-started it, I'm with you. I think that the appropriate move is to not make a decision tonight and continue this. My question is, do we need to continue the time for the board to make a decision? Do you know, does anybody Is it on here?
I don't
We
see
didn't
it.
have a decision deadline on this.
Didn't
to
have
be
one?
met.
Okay.
No, we did not.
Okay,
It was a
so we're
matter
good.
of-
Let's just get a motion to continue.
So moved.
I have a motion by, who said so moved? Richard?
No, Chris.
I'm sorry, Chris.
The other Richard.
The other Richard. Sorry, guys. I have a motion to continue by Chris Conti, and I have a second from
Second.
Richard Simple.
Richard.
All in favor? Troy?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Richard?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Okay, it's continued,
Are we moving this to the 22nd, Mr. Akabachi?
please. 1/22/25. Okay, that takes care of preliminary business. Under continued business on the agenda tonight, we have 5 items. The 5th of which I know is just going to be a continuance, so I'm going to bring Mr. Titlebaum back up because we told him we had a special bus outside waiting for him. Dos Amigos Realty, 70-24. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, we're asking for a continuance. What was presented to you,
I
I'm
know, I
sorry,
got-
if
I
I
got
may
you, Sonia.
interrupt.
Yeah.
He has to open the public
Yeah,
hearing.
Right,
to
yeah.
read it in.
70-24. So before we can continue it, we have to open it.
fair enough.
So, sorry.
I apologize.
No, that's all right. I was thinking the same thing. That's
I
why.
thought you were actually going to do, you said.
And I'm going to let you
enterprises.
guys see the folders, even though I know he's going to continue it, because we haven't officially. And that way you got a feeling of what we're talking about. And the zoning board of appeals will hold a public hearing on January 8th, 2025 at 6:30 PM in room 520 of the Wareham Multi-Service Center, 48 Marion Road, Wareham, Mass. 02571, to consider petition number 70-24 for an appeal/variance and/or a special permit from the requirements of Article 6, Table 621, and Article 13, Section 1320, of the Wareham zoning bylaws to Dos Amigos Realty LLC, care of Peter W. Titlebaum, Esquire, of 30 Oak Street, Wareham, Mass., proposing to construct a new dwelling located at 36 Restful Lane, Wareham, Mass. This is going to appear on Wareham Assessors Map 119, Lot 354A, in the R130 zoning district. Go ahead, Mr. Titlebaum.
Do you need to vote to open the hearing, or do you just declare it
Nope,
open?
the hearing's open.
Okay, well, since the door's open, I'll walk through. We're requesting a continuance with the understanding that we don't have a full board tonight, and certainly if it proceeds to the variance, if the appeal is denied, then we would want the full board to act on the variance. We also think that there's some interesting and perhaps novel questions of law here for you to parse over, and we think it would be important for the chairman, the regular chairman, to be here as well to go through that. I think it's an interesting exercise, so
No,
that's the
I
reason for the
agree, and
continuance.
I wanted to continue for that reason as well, so. Okay, any questions from the board before we entertain a motion to continue?
I understand.
Anybody? Oh, no, I don't have to open it to the audience because we've opened it. And just before we go ahead with our continuance, for anybody in the room or on Zoom, we insist that applicants come even though we knew in advance that this was going to be continued, because we don't feel as though it's fair to the public. There could be people in the room here that oppose this request, or people in the room that are in favor of this request that made a special trip out in this sub-zero or sub-freezing weather, and then they find out, oh, they made a backroom decision to continue, and here I am sitting here for nothing. So, because the public is here and uninformed, we like to always do our continuances with a person in person.
Understood.
That said, I'd need a
Jim,
motion.
can I ask one?
Yeah.
Just make one statement? I do believe that the chairman, Mr. Akalasi, he recuses himself with Dos Amigos. Just
And
a-
and
just-
that's, And
I
that's
just want
why,
to make sure that he knows that.
that's why Titlebaum will be presenting it and not the principal from Dos Amigos.
Okay, thank you.
And that's, we're gonna go over that too.
All right,
But, good point.
all right.
So I need a motion to continue.
I move we continue 7024 to January 22nd?
Yes, please.
I have a motion from Christopher Conti to continue this, this application until January 22, 25. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Troy Larson. All in favor, Troy?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Richard?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Thank you all. Passes. You're continued.
Great, thank you, gentlemen. I'll
Five,
see you
zero,
on the 22nd.
0. I didn't put the,
Be real busy.
If I can approach and take a copy of that.
yeah, take that. And you abstained on True Storage, right?
No, I abstained on Mannix.
Mannix, okay. 3, 0, 1. 5, 0, 0. I said I was going to take notes myself, and I didn't, so now I'm catching up on them. Okay. Thanks.
Night, folks, thanks.
Night.
Thank you, Knight.
Thanks. All right. Now we're going to jump right back to Angelo McCowan, 21-23.
Mr. Kvatchuk, can we have Bob Rigo on Zoom, who's also requesting a continuance.
Which one?
Youssef Enterprises, 54-24.
60,
54-24.
okay,
Continued
Youssef.
public hearings.
Okay. Yeah,
Mr. Bob Rigo.
you don't mind waiting for us to do a continuance, do you? Yeah, okay. So it doesn't matter which one goes first, does it? Come on up.
And I apologize because I spoke to my brother today, but I didn't know that Ms. Debonese wasn't going to be here.
I
So
got
we're in a position that we're forced to continue as well.
Okay.
But I know that the opposition brought their counsel, so
But just like Mr. Titlebaum, I have to open you before I can continue you.
we're continued
Continued
already.
public hearing.
We're already open.
I'm sorry, this is under continueds.
Yep.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we don't have to read you in. We just need to get a motion to continue.
So moved.
Till when?
So I have a motion by Richard
Yep.
and seconded by Chris, if I heard right.
Sure, till when? When do you want to continue it to?
Again, the 22nd?
22nd, and we can extend that deadline out a month if you want, because I believe it's
You want to go into
1/23.
February? You-
No, we want the hearing on the 22nd, and then we can bump out the decision if you want a month
Thank
out
you.
the decision deadline to 23.
We have 123, 25.
Yeah, so we can do 2/23, 25 if you want.
Sounds good to me.
So for the record, what we're doing is we're continuing the next hearing and to the very next hearing, which is January 22nd, but we're giving the board until March 23, 25 to make a final decision. Any questions on that? And all we need is a vote.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
could I just be heard very briefly, just on a procedural question?
I don't see why not.
I'm fine with that. I apologize,
No.
but I didn't know.
No objection
Yeah.
from, okay. Go
Thank you,
ahead.
Mr. Chair. My name's Jonathan Silverstein. I've submitted some correspondence on this matter on behalf of my clients, the Reeds. I attended tonight in person at the board's request, the last time this was discussed, that I be here in person to present the Reeds' case. My office is in Concord. Obviously, it's an expense to my clients. Obviously, I understand that.
No, I can make believe I didn't hear the request for a continuance, and we asked for public input and listen to you, but I really prefer to blow your client's budget and bring you back again.
Well, so my request, Mr. Chair, was going to be, I understand that the applicant is going to want to have a full board. I'd make the same request if I were in her position. My request would be that the board accept if my clients choose for me to present our case remotely the next time this comes
I don't have a
up.
problem with you coming on Zoom. I honestly don't. I know this has been a, let me try to think of an old term, sticky wicket. Okay, so it's nice to get people here and read their faces and their body language and all that stuff, you know, get the smell of blood in the room. But we can see your, you can stick your tongue out or do this over the Zoom or something like
Wouldn't
that.
dream of it, Mr. Chair.
We'll get the same effect.
I appreciate it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're
Sorry,
okay, too?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm good with that. So all we need to do is vote on this continuance out to the 22nd for the meeting and the 23rd of March for the board to make a decision. And you guys have moved and seconded, I believe.
Yes, he made the
Yes,
motion.
so-
I second. Now, we're going to March or February?
We're gonna have the very next meeting
Yes, the decision.
of this month for them to come back. But they're extending our time to make a final decision out until March.
Till March, okay, I thought it was.
Oh, you want March?
I thought you said February.
She did.
Yeah, I just did like a 30-day extension
So you want
to 23,
February?
25.
So you're saying 2, not 3? 23, 25.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you
I
want
thought-
60
I thought you
days?
said
Just so you know,
323.
that's a Sunday, 2/23.
Okay, I want to do
So
2.
what are we doing, February or March?
The 26th would be the next meeting date. Why don't we do the 27th? 2/27.
Yep,
2/27,
perfect.
okay. Is everybody thoroughly confused? We can vote. Troy?
Yes.
Myself, aye. Richard?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
You're done.
Thank you.
Okay, Bob Rigo on Zoom. 5424, Youssef Enterprises.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can kind of hear you, yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry. For the record, Bob Rigo with
Just,
River
Bob,
Hockey
just a
Environmental-
minute, I got some people leaving the room, and they need to talk to each other as they walk out, so that we can't hear you. Okay, now they're done disturbing us, we can go on.
Sorry about that. So Bob Rigo, on behalf of the applicant, we just received the letter from the consultant at about 5 o'clock this evening. So we haven't had any time really even to look at it, let alone reply back to the comments. So we're just asking for an extension to the next meeting. We'll jump right on it, get the comments back to the reviewer, and hopefully look for approval at the next meeting.
Okay, Bob, thank you. Then the board hasn't had the chance to review it, nor the building commissioner, so I think a continuance to the 22nd is appropriate. Thank you. Any comments from the board? Okay, I need a motion to continue.
So moved.
It's been moved by Troy Larson to continue to 1/22/25. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Richard Semple. All in favor, Troy?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Richard?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Okay. Mr. Youssef, you're done.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Quick question to the chair. Now, was that the article that we had tabled?
No.
Which one did we table?
The one that we said we'd get back to it, we ended up handling it because she was here. You talking about True Storage?
Was that the one? That got continued. So I was just wondering if we brought it back off table, that's all.
No, we handled it. We didn't need to because Phil was online on Zoom, and so we just dealt with it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so now we're on public hearings. Before I bring up Taunton Federal Credit Union, I'm going to see on the agenda here if anybody's here for 6 Chapel Lane. That permit has been issued. There is no appeal on that. Am I correct, sir, Commissioner?
That's correct.
Okay, so if anybody's here for 6 Chapel Lane, don't hang around. That's a done deal. Okay, go ahead, Taunton Federal Unit, come on up, we're gonna read you in.
Man, what is with all the crowd today, man?
And before I read this in, I'm gonna hand these out. Chairman, here you go. I'm gonna we're not, I'd say there's a snail's chance in a speed race that we're gonna give you an approval this evening, or even conclude this hearing this evening. So I'm gonna open it and we're gonna proceed. You're entitled to a 5-member board. You've only got 4 here. Our chairman can, may, and will review the tape and the video under the Mullen Rule and be able to come back and chair, and I won't, and participate. So you got a 5-member board, it's just that one guy's gonna do it in arrears by video.
Understood.
Okay, before I even, and ongoing, before I read it in, I want to go on record as announcing that I personally don't believe I have a conflict in this matter, but I want it on record that the Taunton Federal Credit Union bought this property that this is going to happen on, and the broker of record was me. So if anybody feels that I have a conflict as a result of that, speak now or forever be peaceful. I don't feel as though there's a conflict because they bought it, it's paid for. It's not gonna put a dime in my pocket if they get approved or disapproved, but somebody might come out of the woodwork and say, I know something, I can tell, and so now they can't, because I already did. Anybody have any objections to this?
No objections.
Okay, thank you. That said, the Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing on January 8th, 2025 at 6:30 PM in Room 520 of the Wareham Multi-Service Center, 48 Marion Road, Wareham, Mass. 02571, to consider petition number 66-24 for a special permit for site plan review and a drive-through use from the requirements of Article 3, Table 320, and Article 15, Section 1520 of the Wareham zoning bylaws to Taunton Federal Credit Union, care of Northeast Engineers and Consultants Incorporated of 6 Valley Road, Middletown, Rhode Island, 02842, proposing to construct a new single-story banking facility, associated parking, paved parking, utility connections, and stormwater controls on a previously developed commercial property located at 2512 Cranberry Highway, Wareham, Mass. This appears on Wareham Assessors Map 109A, Lot 1032, in the CG zoning district. Go ahead, sir.
Sean Leach, Northeast Engineers representing Taunton Federal Credit Union. This is a property located at 2512 Cranberry Highway, which is almost directly across the street from the police station. What's being proposed here is a single-story bank building with a drive-through, and this is the configuration of the lot layout on that lot. Previously, there was a business on there and a house. There were 2 houses, actually. Mr. Chris, which I think some people are familiar with, and there was also a pool in the backyard that had some parking area, and it already had 2 curb cuts. This has been demolished through a permit through the Wareham Building Department last fall. We've gone out and done test pits, so what we're proposing is to lay out a bank building in this configuration with parking, with an entrance on one side and an exit on the other, 25 feet wide, and with a typical bank with 3 drive-through kiosk, or however you want to mention them, to come out through here. The grading plan is very simple on this particular parcel. There's no need for catch basins or structures. There's a very good sheet flow, and there's sediment control basins and infiltration basins that meet the requirements for stormwater on this particular property. So there'll be no off-site discharge and no
discharge out onto Route 28 or Cranberry Highway. The bank itself will be landscaped in a way which we hope is pleasing to, with a number of pictures with an entrance and exit sign delineating the entrance and exit to this, and with surrounding the property with a buffer of different plantings that meet the requirements of the Wareham. The bank building itself looks like this. This would be the front of the building down here with the drive-through on the right-hand side. It's a very simple building, fits in architecturally with other buildings, and it just has the drive-through on one side that we mentioned before, was configured so that they drive in, coming in one side, go around, drive out through the other side.
Terrific. Any questions?
I have none.
Okay, so this is obviously gonna require site plan review. You've got more than 9 cars, yada, yada, you know. I'm sure you read the rules. You've done a good job on your presentation. We're gonna need to form a 53G account.
Yes, we know that. We're aware of that, I believe.
Okay.
Yes.
Have you been in communication with the principal department assistant?
I think Lynn Small has been in touch
Yes,
with
I
you.
have actually been working very closely with the applicants. I already have their W-9. I just need a cost estimate from Phil. I'm not sure if
Okay.
he's reviewed the plans or not, but we'll work on that.
Okay. So, do you have anything you'd like to add at this point? I think we got the quick overview. We need a peer review. The board's gonna depend heavily on our peer review. I think you've done a good job. I liked your quick presentation. It shows to me that you guys have got it, you're ready.
Yeah. Oh, we've been ready for a while, yeah.
I don't think our peer is gonna find too much wrong with you. I hope he's not, you know. And it's just, let's bring you back after you've got your account settled and you send it over to him. I mean, don't feel as though you gotta come and give it to me, for me to give it to him.
We can forward it
Got my
electronically.
permission to,
Yeah.
unless somebody objects. Okay? The commissioner needs to be able to review everything too. So, you know, one of the rules, just so you guys know, one of the rules this board tries to adhere is that if something is submitted at the last minute, we never make a decision on a last-minute submission. So if you were coming into us tonight and came in with, oh, we've got a revised plan.
Right.
Great, we'll look at your revised plan and we'll make a decision in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You're not going to get a
With the
decision
process,
on a revised plan.
Yeah, and it happens quite often where, of course, tonight
It happens,
is when you
yeah.
get the review,
It happens, and then,
letter.
then the
so.
building commissioner is going to say, hey, I didn't even get a chance to study that revised plan, or some member of the board says, hey, you know, I looked at that after the fact, and I didn't like something, and I felt rushed, and I didn't want to hold them up, and so, we're not, you know, just so you know,
No problem.
last minute,
Yeah. No, we try to get everything well ahead of time, that way there's
No.
adequate review, so.
yep, okay, so,
Mr. Commissioner,
go ahead.
just have a quick question. I'm looking through the packet, and usually with the denial letter, Mr. Turner has a signature page on the bottom or at the end of it with, you know, what zone they're in, and this seems to be dead-ended without that on there. I didn't know if there was more to the denial letter than just one page.
It's in the CG zone?
Yes.
It's on the letter.
Yeah, there's a little bit more on it online. There's a
Oh, it's
page,
online?
there's a page missing.
Yeah, but what about in this packet? Where are we in the packet with the commissioners?
Initially, the initial submission, the denial letter was missing, so we did obtain an updated letter from Mr. Turner. It may have missed some of your packets, because I did have to make new packets.
got it.
As long as we got it and
It
it's
could be in the
online.
original,
On the chairman's copy?
yes, on the
It's
chairman's copy.
two-sided, and it's on the back.
Okay.
And I'll share it with you, just so...
I was just making sure that,
Yeah,
I didn't
okay.
want something that was...
No, that's good. It's good that you did that, because, again, we don't want somebody coming back later and saying,
I'm just used to seeing Mr. Turner's work, and it just seemed funny to be dead-ended, that's all.
I did it
Mr.
intentionally.
did you hear that? You used Mr. Turner and work all in the same sentence.
Starting a new year, you know.
You know what my initials are? PT, part-time.
Oh, we got PT, part-time. Okay, I'd like a motion to continue this so that we can, does anybody want to see the big plan, or, no, I didn't think so. So that we can let the town's engineer review the plans and make any recommendations that he deems appropriate.
What date are we continuing to?
22nd's getting busy.
Well, wait a
I'll
minute, no,
work
the
on the
22nd.
53G.
Pardon me?
I'll work on it this week.
Does that give Phil enough time to review it and get back to us in
Yeah.
a timely manner? So you want, we can keep it to the,
I think
Are
we
you-
can, I think 2
you
weeks.
guys, I'm sure you guys want to get going.
We would like to, yes. Nelson Tavares, President and
Pardon me?
CEO of, Nelson Tavares, President and CEO of Taunton Federal Credit Union. Yes, we would like to expedite.
You'd like to get
To the
open?
board's satisfaction.
And if we'd let you operate out of a trailer, you'd open up sooner, but...
I guess that's a different hearing.
You can wait, okay. So, we're gonna, where are we, we're gonna continue until 1/22/25. We don't need to continue the time to make a decision. We talked about the 53G, that's in
Yeah, I'll work on it
process.
this week. The applicant's
All I
been
need
very,
is a
very
motion to
responsive.
continue and a second.
Motion to continue.
From Richard Semple, and the second from
Second.
Chris Conti. All in favor, Troy?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Richard?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in, gentlemen. Thank you for doing a good job on your, on your first presentation. For the Paul Turner, approved permits, Chapel Lane is done. John Keating, special permit and variance, 18 Highland Road. That sounds awful familiar.
He's been here before.
Oh, I recognize you even. So, I gotta read it in, so I won't ask you any questions until after I've read it in, in case somebody wants to. 60. 66.
Chris.
Seems thicker than the other. Was yours thick or thin? Here you go.
I don't know what
Some of these seem thicker than the others, so I'm gonna give you a trade with you. Probably got more information in it. Maybe it's just, maybe some of them are two-sided and some of them are not. The Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing on January 8th, 2025 at 6:30 PM in room 520 of the Wareham Multi-Service Center, 48 Marion Road, Wareham, Mass. 02571, to consider petition number 68-24 for a special permit and variances from the requirements of Article 3, Table 320, Article 6, Table 622, and Article 13, Sections 1360 and 1361 of the Wareham main zoning bylaws to John F. Keating Jr., care of Brian Grady of GAF Engineering, Inc., of 266 Main Street, Wareham, Mass., proposing to convert the existing garage to a residential structure located at 18 Highland Road, Wareham, Mass. This would appear on Wareham Assessors Map 61, Lot 1140, in the Wareham Village 2 zoning district. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. My name is John Keating. I'm the owner of the property at 18 Highland Road here in Wareham, and I purchased this property in 1986. The property consists of a 14,710 square foot lot with a 55-foot by 25-foot ground level, single-story, with the first building is a 55-foot by 25-foot, three-family building. And there's also a second building on the property, which is a 40-foot by 20-foot, 800 square foot, ground level, single-story building. The footprint of these two buildings is 2,175 square feet and represents 15% of the lot. Outside green and parking areas represent 85% of the lot, and the breakdown is 15% on the buildings. Parking represents 3,500 square feet, and that's 24% of the lot. And green grass areas, 9,035 square feet, and that represents 31% of the lot. The larger three-family building has an 1,100 square foot, two-bedroom, one-bath, first-floor apartment with a 275 square foot open front porch. 1,100 square foot, two-bedroom, one-bath, second-floor apartment also with the 275 square foot front porch. This one is enclosed. It's three-season porch. It's not heated. The third-floor apartment is a 1,375 square foot, three-bedroom, one-bath, third-floor apartment. The smaller accessory, 800 square foot accessory building has a 400 square foot of approved living space and 400 square feet of storage space. The entire property was connected to town sewer in the 70s, believe, and does not have a septic system or leaching field on the property. I currently live in the third-floor apartment with my wife and two adult children. The first and second-floor apartments are occupied by year-round long-term tenants. They both lived here approximately 14 years. All building materials, lumber and cement, nails are identical in both buildings and indicate they were probably both constructed together in 1914. Excuse me. Both buildings have been well-maintained or in good condition. The larger three-family was originally constructed as a three-family and not modified into one. It has not changed dimensionally since built, and the interior layout is essentially the same. The use of this building has always been housing. While the original use of the larger building is known, I don't know the original use of the smaller building. At first look, it looked to me like an old carriage house back in '86 when I first saw it. Although it could have served as a barn. Automobiles were around in 1914, but I don't know how common. No way to be certain what the original use of this building was. Whatever its original purpose was, it had long since been used for storage by the time I got here in 1986. All 800 square feet was full of old furniture. In 1998, my wife bought a single-family house here in Wareham, and we moved out of my third-floor apartment and into her new house. I rented out my old apartment, and I became an absentee landlord. I started having tenant-related problems associated with my absence from the property, and it was kind of like when the cat's away, the mice will play kind of thing. I approached the building department with the plan to repurpose the accessory building into living space in 2002. This would allow for me for more of a presence on my property as an absentee landlord. I could be here more often, and hopefully that would help. I was told by Mr. Miserak of the building department at that time that he would have to deny my 800 square foot request, but he would be willing to permit me to renovate half of the space into living space. It would provide me a 100 square foot bathroom with a shower, toilet, sink, and vanity, and a 300 square foot recreation room, and it would represent half of the building. This was fine for my purposes as I was looking for a presence on the property, so I proceeded with the 400 square foot project. The building was connected to town water and sewer, electricity was brought in with a 200 amp panel, an oil-fired heating system was installed, and all 400 square feet with newly added windows and doors was insulated to proper R values. The interior was finished, and in 2003, it was fully inspected and approved by the town. I continue to use this space as an owner's quarters and means to provide me an increased presence on my property until 2013, when me and my family moved back into my third-floor apartment. I was then living back on my property full-time. As a result of this move, the space lost its original purpose to me as I now lived here again. Between 2013 and 2020, the space was vacant and falling into disrepair due to disuse. By 2020, the housing climate statewide and locally was changing, and dwelling creation was becoming needed and encouraged. So I felt this new climate might possibly give me the opportunity to renovate the unfinished 400 square feet and create an 800 square foot proper dwelling. I was unsuccessful in my first attempt. After the 2021 decision, I decided to spruce up my authorized 400 square feet of living space in my accessory building and host it short-term on the Airbnb platform. I registered it with the Wareham Board of Health rental program, paid my fee, and was inspected. I included my listing along with my package, I believe, of this stay. It has been operating as an Airbnb stay since September of 2022. I allocated 2 off-street parking spots for my guests and allow for a maximum of occupancy of 4 people in the space. I've hosted over 80 stays since September of '22, and the space is occupied 70% of the time. I paid over $5,000 in occupancy taxes to the state on this unit over this time frame. This property was originally developed to provide housing before any of us were even born, and has continuously done that. Over 90% of all interior space in both buildings is used for housing and authorized to do so. I'm a 65-year-old man with 2 arthritic hips and a twitchy right knee. Navigating stairs daily will become a major problem for me as my leg mobility deteriorates. I will get to the point where I'll need to eliminate stairs as best I can from my life for safety and ability reasons. Stairs will become a quality of life issue for me. In all respects, my 800 square foot accessory building would be the ideal place for me to go once I need to because of my hip and leg issues. It's already on my property and it's on ground level. It is half finished already, and it could reasonably be completed now for when I need it later. I could continue to host the space until needed by me and reclaim this space at a moment's notice if needed by simply removing my Airbnb listing and relocating, and relocating any already booked guests into other local Airbnb units. No year-round tenants would be displaced by eviction, and no real inconvenience to any Airbnb guests either. My denial letter from Mr. Turner at the building department indicates the need for variance for lot size and frontage and an insufficient setback between my accessory building and lot 1141, which is owned by Adam and Megan Park. And because this proposed dwelling unit is not in the existing 3-family building, but is a detached standalone structure, a special permit variance is also required for the use of this space. When the process began to originally engineer this site and build these buildings on this lot, the lot size and frontage requirements were met and authorization was given. The buildings were built in full compliance of all existing town zoning requirements regarding lot size and frontage. The combined footprint of these buildings only represents 15% of the overall lot, leaving 85% of the lot as open outside green space. These buildings have not been dimensionally altered or enlarged since they were built and remain today exactly as they were then. This project won't change any of that. Only subsequent zoning bylaws and changes over the years cause my property's nonconformities, and not because of anything I or any other owner has done. Likewise, regarding the setback issue at the time of first build, this was the standard, and that standard was met and authorized by the town at that time. Current zoning standards and bylaws are being applied to my 111-year-old buildings, and a lot which was in full compliance and conformity when built is now out of compliance and non-conforming today. My detached accessory building is separated from the larger 3-family building by a 3,500 square foot off-street parking area, which accommodates 8 vehicles and provides space for these vehicles to park and navigate cars on and off the property. I believe the civil engineer, when he originally siting these 2 buildings on the land, considered using the buildings to screen outside space. The larger building sits up front by the curb and mostly screens the parking area behind it. The accessory building screens the land directly behind it, creating a very private backyard space. While screening plan had many benefits and is aesthetically more pleasing to the neighborhood, it leaves these 2 buildings virtually unattachable by any reasonable means and not connectable to the existing 3-family building. If the buildings could be attached reasonably, it would be more helpful for me tonight, I think. In 2020, the Massachusetts legislature passed Bill 159 to promote livable communities and zoning reform. It states to achieve, and I have it here, A balance of housing choices, types, and opportunities for all income levels and groups to assure the health, safety, and welfare of all citizens and their rights to affordable, accessible, safe, and sanitary housing. So locally, Wareham has been public about the town's desire to densify and increase dwelling units, particularly in the Wareham Village area. The climate statewide and locally is to create housing, and to do so by using an existing structure is certainly a fine way to do it. In addition to advancing all state and local housing needs, this project gives me a livable dwelling on my own property to transition into when stairs become a quality of life issue for me. This project is fully supported by my neighbors and abutters. I included 21 support letters from them in my application for this hearing. This project, if approved, would benefit the town, my neighbors, neighborhood, and me personally, and I cannot think of any adverse conditions that would be suffered by anyone. I have the full support of my neighbors, and I hope to get your support as well. Thank you.
Wow. You spent more time with your opening statement than we did on the other 8 items we've heard this evening.
I wanted to get everything in that I
Oh, you
could.
did your
I
homework.
wanted to give you the story, the history, and everything else.
So, if I interpret this all correctly, because it was, excuse the use of the word, abandoned, you lost the use.
Yes, I lost the use that I originally went for in 2002.
This is, excuse me for Reader's Digesting this, but this is exactly the same thing you asked for and were denied 2 years ago.
Correct.
Okay, just want to make sure nothing's different from that.
it's the same thing.
Just for my own,
The only thing that's somewhat changed is my legs.
age.
They're deteriorating, and I'm getting to the point, I'm looking forward, I'm saying,
we're all
I need a
2 years
place like
older.
that, yeah.
So, as you are entitled to a 5-member board, and we only have 4 present, I think I'd be more comfortable if our named chair were present when we took the vote. So I'm going to recommend, before I even open discussion from the board or the public, that we're going to continue this. That's going to be my, we don't have to, the board can say, no, we don't need to continue it, let's kick them out of here, we don't want to hear it. Or they
I'd
can
be
say, we like
perfectly
the guy,
willing to
let's
go with
let's
this
vote.
board.
But I caution you, with a 4 members present, only takes 1 person to say nay. With
got
5
it.
members present, you gotta, and I think it merits some thought and some review. My first question to you is, you said you renovated the abandoned structure, or the abandoned space. I imagine it was all non-structural improvements that you made. I'm going to turn to the commissioner and ask him if there are any permits on record from all that renovation.
From 2002?
They have permits, they have,
Should be.
how
It's
far
on
do
my
your record- how far do your records go back?
All the way.
All the way.
I have a detail sheet here that shows it, actually.
So all that renovation was done by permit?
Oh, yes.
Okay, that's all I was asking.
Yeah, it was all done by...
That's all I was asking.
It was all authorized, inspected, everything.
And so, just getting it into the record, so in the past, you went and you got permission to renovate it and turn it into a,
Half of it,
half of it?
Yeah.
And so what you're asking for now is to
The other
get
half.
get the other half?
yes.
Mr. Chairman? I think I need to do some investigation into that property. I wasn't aware that it was half-built. I have knowledge that I guess the work started in 2002, maybe without permits. It was stopped. I believe it was, again, I don't have it in front of me, the documentation, but I believe it was asked that it be
You're
decommissioned.
reinforcing my desire to continue.
Yeah, and I knew nothing of the 2002 that 400 square feet was approved. I thought this, when
It's kind of new information to me, too, because I was here during the last decision that was
So when this was
denied.
presented to me, it was presented as a storage facility, a garage space, not half
My
living.
memory, that's,
And that's how it was
I'm
from,
not saying that, maybe it was a poor presentation last time, maybe we listened poorly, and, there's lots of maybes.
yeah,
And let's
that
not
was
play
my
maybe.
notes
Let's,
as listening. I
That's
knew
why I'm
nothing of
suggesting.
nothing of the approved living area from 2002, and I know that it was
But it
work
was-
done without permits, and,
It was tonight's testimony that it's been operated as an Airbnb.
yeah,
Since-
it's all,
That's the last 2 years, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
in
so that's right.
2002 was fully permitted when I did the work.
Okay, so
I need time to investigate this, please.
I'm with you. I need time to absorb it. Anybody on the board have any comments at this time? Nope.
Nope, I'm
Okay.
fine with continuing, but it looks like, with this application, there's 4 variances and 1 special permit? Is that what I'm reading?
It looks like that to me, yeah, at least, yeah. So, with all that in mind, and with the fact that the commissioner would like to review it and give us, and our chair isn't able to be present, and he's very knowledgeable on this stuff, I think I owe it to you to offer you a 5-member board. I owe it to the board to have 5 members, 5 eyes, and our commissioner's eyes on it. So with that said, I'd like to hear a motion to continue.
So moved.
So the motion has been made by Troy Larson to continue. Do I have a second on that?
Continue to when?
The very next meeting.
122.
122.
Yep.
I'll second that.
So the motion's been made by Troy Larson, it's been seconded by Richard Semple.
Chris.
I'm sorry.
Excuse me, what's the date
Chris
on
did
that?
it?
January 22nd.
My hearing's really giving me a bad night tonight. Your voices are similar, I don't know. Sorry, seconded by Chris Conti. And that's till 1:22:25. All in favor, Troy?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Richard?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Okay, so you're continued. The commissioner may want to come by and knock on the door. What's your plan? You want to just
Do you
do
want my
research?
phone number?
or-
If you wanted to give me a call when you want to come
Yeah.
by,
Why don't you contact me tomorrow at the building department?
I'll come down to the building department. What's a
Sure.
good time?
7:30, I'm there.
All right, I'll be down there at 7:30.
Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you for coming in,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
okay, thank you.
Okay, I think we only have one item left on, thank you, sir. I think we only have one item on the on the public hearings, new business, and that's going to be 69-24, Judah Dini, are you here? Do you feel, we save,
wanna move
we
forward on
usually
this
save the best for last.
Yes. Hopefully this
And so I wondered
won't be
why
too
you...
complex for you. Hopefully good decision on this. All right, let you read it in and everything.
There you go. Thank you.
Thank you.
The Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing on January 8th, 2025, at 6:30 PM in Room 520 of the Wareham Multi-Service Center, 48 Marion Road, Wareham, Mass. 02571, to consider petition number 69-24 for a special permit and/or variance, or variances, from the requirements of Article 6, Table 628, Article 13, Section 1352, 1353, and 1357 of the Wareham zoning bylaws to Judah Dini, care of Attorney Jillian Morton of 184 Main Street, Wareham, Mass., proposing to raise / elevate the home on pilings out of the flood zone, add a deck, add a new driveway, and slightly widen existing driveway at the property located at 20 Roosevelt Street, Wareham, Mass. This would appear on Wareham Assessors Map 53, Lot 203, in the R30 zoning district. And I just want to see one thing here. I said, it's raised with an S, not with a Z, correct?
Raising.
Okay.
Yes, we know
We've
that
been-
issue.
I just want,
Yeah, that's been an issue before.
just
Yep.
wanted to be clear
Yep.
before we got too deep. Go ahead.
Absolutely. Attorney Jillian Morton here for the applicant, and you have my packets in front of you. As always, I really like to start with the commissioner's letter, and his letter is under Exhibit B. So you heard that the plan is the property right now. And if you want to see like pictures in the very back, there are pictures, just so you can see what we're talking about. Lifting up the property onto pilings. And you'll be happy to hear that this has been already approved through conservation, which I know is a separate entity, but often with these properties by the water is, chicken and the egg, which way do we go first? But we have a full, it's in your packet as well. Conservation looked this, we have a full order of conditions regarding the plan that was submitted. Clearly with this property being near buffer zones and, they needed to see that, so that is approved first. So what we're in front of you for is that we have a pre-existing, non-conforming house. The lot's 5,430 square feet, right, small lot. And the commissioner has indicated we're looking at Article 6, and we're looking at exacerbating some of the existing, pre-existing non-conforming. So this would be a situation that I would say you would be able to look at to see if you want to have it be a special permit or a variance. Is it detrimental to the neighborhood? We don't think so. We haven't heard any opposition from any of the abutters. I know that sometimes that's an issue if you're going up on pilings. There hasn't been anyone. We're looking to raise it up, add, as you can see, the proposed deck. So what that does is exacerbate the side and front setbacks. And like I said initially, we're also going to be widening the driveway as well. So getting this in compliance, helping the property that's been the same for 50 years, whatever it may be. So what we're looking to do is do this build and see if you guys think it's detrimental or not. So we would ask for it to be treated as a special permit. But we're happy to answer any and all questions. The plan's pretty self-explanatory. You can see where the pilings are as well as where the deck is going to be. And like I said, conservation said okay to this.
Okay, I didn't look at the plans.
Yep.
But I will. If I can fiddle them out without, I want to keep you, you're so nice and neat, I want to keep it neat. Okay. So this is,
Through the commissioner, just bring up a point. I was going through, looking at this online, and I was just curious. And you see that it's 35 feet is the maximum height in that R30 district. And I was having a hard time with the measurements. I couldn't see them really. Some missing on the thickness of the width of the floor joists and the ceiling joists. And I'm just curious if that pushes us closer or over 35 feet.
Do you have the house plans with you?
The house plans, these are submitted online.
It's just that I didn't see anything in the
Architecturals?
architecturals of the thickness.
Yeah, I
of the
believe it
floor.
was under the 35.
One-story ranch?
Yeah, just lifting it up, it's not going,
Yeah,
There's no, it's a crawl space, it's a pretty.
right.
right?
not
It was
flat,
under the
but it's not
35 feet.
slope-proof.
Just when I was, there was some measurements there that seemed to be left out, the floor joist width and the ceiling joist width, and if you added those in, I think you were gonna be pretty close to being over that, but that's just using the figures.
Keeping
that
it
were in.
under, yeah. Can show him this. I know it's smaller, but I can,
And again, I may be wrong, but just what I
It's
was
okay.
figuring, it was just seemed to be really
Yeah, just looking
I might be splitting hairs, but I was just curious.
I was looking at, it's really tight to look at.
It's a good question.
If the sizes were in there on that, what I was
Yeah.
looking online, then I wouldn't even be bringing it up because I'd have my numbers, but.
No,
I was just
absolutely.
curious. There seems to be like
Yeah.
a
I
foot.
think I did address this in my review, but I don't have my notes with me on this.
Yeah,
But
and
it
I
is a
have-
good question.
I know it's really small, but you can see some of the elevations there. Like, it's not going up to, I know you're saying that sometimes when we get these on pilings, they're above that 35, and people are going 36, 37.
Yeah, well, it was just the measurements missing between the floor joist width and your ceiling joist width. There's nothing in the blanks, so that's why you're at 30, I think you were just at 35 without those, so I just was curious. I didn't know if that was something we could just, if it needed to be, that was the,
We'd need a variance
Go for
for
it.
them if they went over 35 feet.
that's all I was
Yeah,
just asking.
Richard, I believe the first measurement, is it 15 feet, 4 inches? Is that, can anyone else see that?
But then you turn around and go to the right-hand side of that print and look at where it says 20 feet 9 inches, or 21 feet 9 inches.
Yeah, I didn't go by that. I went by the 15, then you had a dimension of 7.6 and 4.6, which would be 12 feet. Those two numbers together are 27.
And then you got nothing in there for the floor joist or the ceiling joist, is there? I didn't see
Right,
that.
but we're at 27 minus 35, so that would be 8 feet.
Well, then there's the 4'9" on the top.
I have 15 feet plus 7.6 plus 4.6. I'm coming up with 27 feet. So then you get the two bands, even if we call them 12 inches, would be 28, 29. So you have 6 more feet to go.
Okay. I was just curious with the thickness. I didn't know how thick they were going
Yeah.
underneath.
Yeah.
Between the concrete pillars and the floor, there was a dimension there. It almost seemed like it was a foot or so.
Yeah, I didn't request the total, I just added these up, and it's not close to the 35, so.
Okay.
Yeah, this won't be one of those projects that they creep up on that and we have to get the tape
No.
out for.
No.
Yeah, I know
So
sometimes
I'm
that
hearing
happens.
27 feet, and that's a long way from 35.
27, 29, it's under 30 feet.
And your question, you're
I
satisfied?
as long as he's satisfied, he's
Yeah.
the one that's gonna sign it and put it on. That's all I was just asking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else on the board? Then, being that everybody's being so quiet, anybody here in the room that would like to speak on this matter, either in favor or against? About online on Zoom? Not at this time. Well, this is their chance. Go ahead.
The attorney said that you can act on it as a special permit or a variance. And I agree that that's true for the two side porches. But as far as the front setback, I believe that should be acted on as a variance because it's adding a new nonconformity.
Yeah, it looks like is Garfield Street like a dirt,
It's
it's paper only?
Paper.
it's paper.
Paper, yeah.
If you were to drive by the house, you would.
Do people use it to access their property? There's a zero
It's grass.
Garfield Street down at the end of the road that I noticed, but it's grass.
marshland.
It's not built on, it's marsh.
It's marsh.
Yeah.
I think we had a residence right there that already came by us. It was right around the corner from that or next to it, right?
Okay, so,
Yeah, I agree. Under 1357, the new nonconformity, that would be a variance that could be acted on. And I mean, why we're doing that is obviously the topography there with the marsh and the setbacks and everything that, this was something requested through the conservation. Well, we proposed it that way because we knew they'd want it moved away. That's why we're encroaching on the front setback.
so things are where they are in order to get the yes out of the other board, basically.
A little bit.
I know, I have such a delicate way with words. But that's okay. I mean, if that's, that's what you had to do to make them happy. We start out happy anyway, so. So, looking at the commissioner, do you see any major issues with this request?
I think it's a good plan.
You think it's a good plan? That helps me. You know that you're entitled to a 5-person board and that our chairman is absent and will be back next time. Do you have any worries about dealing with just the 4 of us this evening?
I'd love to hear from the other board members if there's any questions and
The
if
board
they,
members present?
I'm good.
Are the absent, or the chair?
any issues with anything. Okay. Then I'm confident.
Okay. You're good?
I think it's a good project.
Okay.
Richard?
Yep. Yep.
So we didn't scare you away, you're willing to deal with
I
the
don't know,
4
you
of
never
us?
know. It's gambling sometimes with you guys.
4 musketeers, huh? All you need is one of us to just get
No,
a
don't abstain,
transanal
someone,
follicle.
please.
Don't say no.
Don't abstain.
Don't abstain. Please don't
Can we not go that route? Okay.
Okay, no abstentions. Because our chair is not here, I think it's fair, nobody has any sneaky ideas of abstaining on, okay. So the difficult problem here is how to craft the motion to cover everything that we're gonna do. We want to do it in separate votes, or do we want to do it all under one blanket vote? I personally prefer if we could just word it all under one blanket, but
That's fine with me.
it's fine with you? Are we going special permit and need to do it separately, or? I think we can do a special permit here, can't we? No?
If I may.
Everything's a variance?
The
No,
variance.
I can, I would propose that a great petition for a vote would be to vote that this is not detrimental to the neighborhood under 1352 and deem the side setback as a special permit, and then also grant a variance pursuant to 1357 because of the new nonconformity from the front setback.
I agree with that.
So you, okay, so it would
Special
take
permit
it would
and
take
variance.
2 separate votes.
Yeah.
One on the 1352 for a special permit.
Correct.
Because somebody's gonna say, I move that we treat this as a special permit because it's not detrimental to the neighborhood. Somebody's gonna say that, or somebody's gonna say, so moved.
So we need to close the public hearing first?
Yeah, that would probably be a better process. That would probably be a good process. Who wants to make that motion?
So moved. We close the public hearing.
All in favor, Troy?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Richard?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
We're closed.
Okay.
And now, you can't speak anymore, but we want to hear what you said.
I think the commissioner knows. He gets it.
So we're going to vote on 1352. We'd like a motion on 1352 to treat this as a special permit because it's not detrimental to the neighborhood.
So I would like to make a motion, for Article 1352, we treat this as not substantially detrimental to the neighborhood and treat it as a special permit
For side setback?
for the side setback and the front setback too?
No.
Just the side.
I had 10 on the side, front 20, but just on the side 10.
Just on the side, yep. And then-
Do I have a second for that? Okay, seconded by Troy. All in favor? Troy?
Aye.
Mr. Conti?
Aye.
Mr. Semple?
Aye.
And myself, aye. Okay, you got your special permit on the side setback. And I'm gonna make a note here. 400, okay. Check. So now we need a motion for 2 variances, 1353 and 1357. For,
Is 1353, can we treat that not substantially detrimental? Special permit? No.
we're not calling, we're calling it, it's got to be a variance, it requires a variance. It can't be treated as a special permit.
I think you got to act on 1357.
before we can do 50, you mean act on them separately?
That's the only one that
I
you
think
need
there's-
to act on.
Yeah, there's only one left, and that's
That's it.
1357 as a variance.
The special permit's taking care of the two side porches, which was already
Okay,
non-conforming, so that's done. So they moved the house forward out of the
So-
wetlands, so they had to increase the front setback.
so that was 53 that we just voted on as a special permit, is that what you're saying? Talking about, that was 1352,
52.
okay.
53 is just an option if you don't want to use 52.
Okay, so we don't need to vote on the
Nothing, no.
1353 in your,
If you didn't think
Your
that it
denial.
was, you didn't think it was,
because we moved as a special permit under 52,
good, skip over
you
53.
disregard 53.
Correct.
You're not carrying that objection forward. Thank you. That was almost as clear as the marsh out behind the end of Garfield Street. So, we need a motion for a variance under Article 1357,
For front setback.
the front setback. Who wants to make that?
So moved.
It's been moved by Troy Larson and seconded by
I second.
Richard Semple. I saw your lips move, but
Doesn't mean I spoke anything.
the grand puppeteer over there in the corner isn't saying much. All in favor? Troy?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Richard?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Thank
You know,
you.
you guys sat through a few hearings, but it was kind of worth it, wasn't it?
I had a feeling.
You had a feeling.
She's been here
job.
enough, she knows how the last one goes.
Yeah.
Wear you
Thank you.
down.
We didn't get to
Wear
do
you
any, we
down.
didn't get to do anything all night, continue, at least we get to play with the last one.
Yeah,
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
Zero. All right, so, under other business, thank you. Earlier in the week, one of our members was having difficulty trying to look this stuff up. Talked about it in the planning office. Josh has come back. We didn't read him in as being present earlier, but he is here now. And if you guys are willing to stay here a little bit longer, he's willing to kind of give us a rundown on how to access this information on the online system.
So I'll interrupt you for a moment. It's an early night, let's keep it that way, and I didn't bring my laptop, so.
So you can't,
So.
No,
with-
it may
with-
be
with-
better for Nazi to be here, and if we do it at the beginning of the meeting versus the end, maybe we can capture some of the public as well. And it may be useful for the public too.
So what you did for me, by highlighting them as I got in there, I started stumbling through, figuring out how to navigate. I was definitely not in the right area when I was trying to look for it, so I'm definitely finding my way through the woods now, so I appreciate your time, appreciate Jim bringing it to your attention and us talking it over and the extra effort of putting it on and highlighting it and downloading it.
Feel free to call me anytime.
so,
That goes for all of you.
thank you. That's well received. So, at the next meeting, you're going to be present, and you'd like to make your presentation before, under preliminary business.
Give me 5 minutes.
Okay. Do you prepare the agendas, or who prepares?
I prepare the agendas, yes.
Would you mind putting them on, put them right on the agenda, so it's an agenda item, and,
Remind me, please.
okay? And we
Email
won't,
me.
because we don't want to have any hidden agendas, you know? Okay, I appreciate that. Because it is a little bit awkward. I know, you know, it's not just one person that has said, I can't find this stuff, so
It's new.
it's new, you know?
And if you don't work in it every day, it's definitely challenging.
It's
I
like a new
recognize that.
girlfriend. You fumble and you fumble until you get it right.
There you go.
Then she wants a ring. Because you fumbled the
Or
right way.
a new boyfriend, maybe I should, you know, be, so,
So make a motion to adjourn?
Well, I got one more question.
Yeah.
Chapel Lane, I know we didn't discuss it, but I know it was all taken care of. Do we have to, like, vote to withdraw it or anything? No.
He's
I
got,
rescinded my letter.
Okay.
yeah, and he's got permits in hand, so he's not worried about it.
Because it was on, and thank you for asking that. I mean, because it was on the agenda, we either need to withdraw or we need something.
I would
know
take a
you
vote to withdraw.
Yeah, it definitely, and I
Accept the
I
withdrawal.
asked Mr. Conti, we need to withdraw it.
Yeah.
So that's,
Because
I asked
there was
that
an
question, I
application
was
filed with the
Brushed away
clerk.
and told me it was all set. By the,
we did discuss it
Standing
in
commissioner.
turn, but we didn't withdraw it as a vote. You want to withdraw it as a vote?
yeah,
Yes, please.
Okay, so from this evening's agenda, under public hearings, the second item, 6724, 6 Chapel Lane, we are entertaining a motion to withdraw this application.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Conti.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Semple. All in favor?
aye.
Myself, aye. Richard?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
It's officially withdrawn. And I will write withdrawn on my notes.
Now will you accept the motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, Troy?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Richard?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen. Everybody have a good night. Happy New Year.